Welcome to another episode of Will It Work? I'm Kevin. This is a Zonk pong system, and I think these are fairly rare. I've only ever seen one other one, and that was only because it was mentioned by a collector. I am sure they do probably surface up on eBay from time to time, but I don't think they were particularly popular. I don't know where they were purchased. They were built in Hong Kong, but it is one of the more rare Pong systems. It's probably running on the same 8500, AY chip, whatever, from General Instruments. It has the same 4 games. It does have switches here, paddle speed, serve, and it has game start. And look at that, it just pushed in and doesn't come back out. I do not think this is going to work. It was purchased a long time ago as an as-is. It is obviously very dirty. And I pretty much expected it not to work. The thing is with this one, it's just that it's rare enough that I felt like, well, if it can be repaired, it might be worth it someday. If a collector wanted a Zonk. I mean, this button's missing, etc. And or sometimes when you're dealing with these kinds of things, you can find another one that's being sold for parts, swap parts around and get it to work. It does take D cell batteries too, which is unusual. Most of them take C. I think we've only seen one so far that takes D. This is old. It's probably been sitting someplace. It's really beat up. So I'm not expecting it to work. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch us over to the video side if this works. And we'll see, if it is indeed the same old Pong system that we've seen before. If it doesn't work, I'll come back here. We'll just talk about it a little bit. And I'll probably keep it, just like I said, because I keep an eye out for maybe a Zonk or something to repair it, just because this one is particularly old. It's not like an Ultra Pong that sold like maybe 1 million of them or something when it was popular in the 70s. This one's very much more obscure. Maybe not as obscure as like some, Brazilian one or something, that might exist out there. But in terms of ones that were probably sold in North America, fairly rare. All right, let's check it out.
Okay, we're looking at the Zonk. Funny thing is that when I first put batteries in this, I didn't get anything out of it. It wasn't working. So I unscrewed it and noticed inside there were a couple of bad capacitors that had leaked on the board. I have never capped anything before in my life, but I have soldered. I did some electronic assembly when I was in my 20s for a couple of years, and so I know how to solder things all right. So I ordered up a couple of capacitors that matched the two that were bad, and I gave it a whirl, and it looks like it paid off, because it's totally working, and it has a nice clean display, which is surprising, because the inside of this thing wasn't great, but it is working. It is using the usual AY 8500 chip or whatever that most of these other black and white consoles use. So there's really nothing exciting here to show you, but it does work, and that's the purpose of the show. It's a keeper, but I did have to do a little bit of finagling on this one to get it going, but I'm kind of happy with the results. At least I got the Zonk to behave itself, and it's got at least 2 more capacitors in it to last another 40 years or something. All right, thanks. Let's move on and see what we got on the next one.